I am Jenny Panzurk, and I am back with Dr. Amy Merenda. Another chat with all of you with a couple of extra tips for this finishing up this school year reflection before we move on to next school year. And many of you, if you have watched some of our previous lives together, Amy's been hanging out with me on this. We've been talking about some things related to summer boot camp 2024. And the reason why we're talking about a lot of these things together is Amy and I are actually co-presenting many of the different sessions together. I'm so excited. She said yes.
Me
So
too.
that we get some different perspectives, right? As we are talking about so many important things as it relates to IEPs this summer. So today we wanted to chat a little bit about staying in the loop. So what we know is no school psychologist has ever said to anybody that they don't get invited to enough meetings or they didn't get enough emails today, right? Like when you walk back in your office after you've done an observation and there are no new emails, like you think the internet went down, right? Like we just get so many invites, so many emails. However, there are definitely instances that I can think of when I was not in the loop on something that was really important. And often that was because someone didn't know why it was important to tell me. So I have very fond memories of a parent requesting testing for special education at a parent-teacher conference and the teacher not telling me for a month. They don't realize that there's a certain timeline that we have, right? That we have to get back and respond, right? There are different times where we found out a kid on a 504 plan hit that magical number and they need a manifestation determination. And whether or not we believe school psychologists belong in the 504 world, usually we're the ones who know how to do manifestation determinations, right? And why didn't anyone tell me when we hit day 5, right? So that we could examine and see whether or not this kid needed a behavior plan or should we be evaluating this kid for special education, right? We get caught off guard sometimes, and no school psychologist has ever wanted to have that feeling. So Amy and I wanted to share a couple of quick tips here for you to think about and jot down some ideas for the upcoming school year to help avoid this. Amy, I'm going to let you start.
Totally. Absolutely. So the first tip is really about reflecting. So as we know, kind of tying up the school year, finishing everything up is a really great time to think back and reflect on all the things that went really well this year. Also, to think about the things that did not go so well this year. So when you're thinking about this last school year, how many times were you in a situation that Jenny mentioned where something had come up and you wish you would have had more information? You wish you would have been more in the loop. Maybe you were out of the loop when it got to be too big of an issue. You finally get brought in, and it's like, well, I wish I would have been brought in 5 steps ago. So, as Jenny mentioned, one really common situation is the behavior one. When disciplinary issues come up, like suspensions, and we're almost at that manifestation point and we weren't told. Another one is, it could be we're almost at a triennial evaluation. We need to be preparing for our assessment. And nobody told us that the student had some more social emotional concerns now, or perhaps they had some anxiety concerns. And that would alter our assessment, but we didn't know. So inadvertently, we're not assessing in all suspected areas of disability, not on purpose, but just because we were left out of the loop. So it can definitely be frustrating when that stuff happens and when we don't have all the information, but that's why it's really important to go back and reflect so we can make some changes to improve for the next year.
Well, and I think this reflection piece is important to do before all of what happened in the 23-24 school year just seeps out your ears over the summer, right? This is why we're talking about reflecting now, because come August, you might not remember any of these things that happened here. Because after you reflected, we really encourage you to make a list. Make a list that has 2 columns. Column number 1 are things you need to know immediately, like a parent request for an evaluation, right?
Yeah.
And then put things in the other column that could be discussed if you guys have like a regular monthly team meeting for your special ed team. That could include some of the things Amy was talking about. Students whose social emotional functioning we're monitoring, or a student in special ed whose grades suddenly plummeted, and that's not what we've typically seen. So kind of make that list for yourself so that you are aware of those things. And then think about what is going to be the best way for you to share this list with your team. And with your team, not only your case managers and your related service providers, but your admin as well, right?
Totally.
Anyone involved in the disciplinary procedures for students, it's going to be important that they understand why you need to be brought into the loop for so many different students, right? So really just think about, you guys know your teams. For those of you returning back to your same teams, you know how those things work. And for those of you who are brand new to a school site, then you can just walk in with that and within the first couple of weeks of school, be like, how do I share this with all of you, right? These are some important things I want to make sure to add to or like our first team meeting of this year.
Definitely. And if you're listening and you find yourself nodding along and you are realizing, hey, I'm also left out of the loop sometimes, and you want to figure out how you can manage that better, be sure to check out our summer boot camp session called Don't Get Caught Off Guard: Monitoring IEP Goals and Collaborating with Your Team. So, in this session, Jenny and I are really going to go into detail about how to establish a strong system with your team, kind of what Jenny was mentioning. So, we are not left out of the loop for important situations that we need to know more about. So, if you want to learn more about this session and, of course, other summer boot camp sessions, please check out www.jennyponzurek.com.
Now, for those of you who have already been over to the website, you guys know we have two options for summer boot camp. We have two price points this year. We have one where you get access to the live sessions and the replays just through the 2 weeks of summer boot camp. That's July 8th through the 19th. And some of you have chosen the option that you want access to everything for 3 months. But someone asked us the other day if they could upgrade. They originally purchased summer boot camp just for the 2 weeks of access, but then they found out they're going on a vacation. Yay, everyone needs a good vacation this July. So they're going on vacation during one of our weeks. And so they said, could they upgrade to the 3 week option, even though they've already paid for the 2 week one? And of course, that answer is yes. All you have to do is send my team an email at support@jennyponzurek.com or just reach out through social media. And all you have to do is pay the difference in the price, and then you are immediately upgraded to the 3 months of access to everything. So we are so excited. We are been busy preparing for all of the sessions that we are co-presenting. And so we are excited creating different PowerPoints and different slides and figuring out how best to get all this information to all of you. And those of you who checked out our schedule, most of our sessions are only 75 minutes, which is a big task for both Amy and I to try and figure out how do we make sure we are focusing on the practical strategies and not just giving you the history of the problem, right? So this is something that we're really tasking ourselves with to make sure that your time is used as wisely as possible during the summer boot camp session. So we're excited. Thank you everyone who's already signed up. And again, if you have any questions about it, feel free to throw us out a question in social or send us an email at support@jennyponzurek.com, and we are happy to answer any of your questions. All right, until next
Awesome.
time.